Okay, Chris. So let's wrap up here talking about situations to use, but first situations to not use dynamic search ad groups. And so some situations where you would want to avoid using a dynamic search ad group. I think number one is when your website changes a lot. So if you're constantly changing your URLs, if you're constantly changing the content on your website, that might be a place you don't want to, a time you don't want to use uh, dynamic search ad groups. Another example would be if you just have bad page titles, if they say home, if they just say your company name, if they don't really describe what you do or what the service is on that service page, that would be a
And
time where you don't want to use dynamic search ads
and
ad
Jason, just to
groups.
be clear, because people don't necessarily know what a page title is. Let me just say, a page title is what shows up if you open your website, go to your services page, go to your contact page, go to some page, then open up a new tab, and look at the name of the tab of the page you just opened. Well, look at the name of the tab of your website. So whatever page you're on, it's going to be the name of the tab. That's the actual page title. So it's not visible typically anywhere except for search engines. Search engines are going to see that because it's not going to be necessarily whatever is in the H1 tag, whatever's in the giant bold letters up at the very top in your header. That's not it. It's actually metadata that is assigned behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So,
behind the scenes, it's not on the page. It's not
yeah,
visible.
very important. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Chris, you have some notes here about like, you know, the if you should use this as your primary kind of
Yeah.
ad group or if you're wanting full control. So situations where it would not be a good fit in terms of Google Ads management. Why don't you walk us through that?
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend, hey, and that's what we do here. We make recommendations, generalizations for
V-neck
people.
shirts.
That's right.
That's
Yeah,
what we're here for. Yeah.
that's what we're here. Maroon. I would recommend that you not use dynamic search ads as your primary method of search. Period. Like, don't spend the majority of your budget there. Don't put your faith entirely into dynamic. I would not recommend it as your primary method of lead generation, traffic, whatever. It should be something that is an add-on. Your primary source is always going to be when it comes to search. It's going to be keywords. It's going to be detailed, contextually understandable, focused, quality traffic that comes through phrase match, exact match, or carefully crafted broad match keywords. There we go. Does that sound good?
It does. It sounds good. Can I
Okay.
push back a little bit, just a little bit?
That's what you're here for.
Well, I'm just being honest.
Okay.
We're not the same. We have different
Yeah.
takes, and I mean, I don't want to be as harsh on it. I want to say early on, why can't it be the primary? Like an introduction to Google Ads, an introductory campaign, or use of your campaign with the ad group here. I can kind of see it serving that role if you're not up to speed with keyword research, if you're just not sure, but you have a really good website and you want to start advertising it. I kind of like it as a place to just start now. Whether you're brand new to Google Ads and you don't know how to do keyword research, or you're the best in the planet, but you want something to go today, like in the
Mm.
next 90 seconds, like we talked about. I really like it for that kind of just get going aspect. So yeah.
I okay. I mean, if you want to really just get going and start winning from the beginning, you can go to chrisschaefer.com.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Um, so Chris, when to use these? I just kind of threw it out there like a great introductory ad group type. I keep wanting to call it a campaign because it
Yeah,
does seem
I know.
such like a different kind of campaign.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to get started, a great way to get going if you want speed. And I would say this: if you look at your website, if you've spent a lot of money with a great website developer, building out your website and you're confident in your page titles, you know what page titles are, you've got a ton of information on your site. And by the way, one of the times you don't want to use it is if you're like a fancy agency out there and there's just a never ending waterfall
Mm.
video that plays on your homepage, but no
Oh
words basically.
no. Yeah.
That Google can't really read the waterfall and go,
Right.
oh, local
Yeah.
advertising agency. Um, so if you're like very picture heavy and not text heavy, that could be a time not to use it. But alternatively, if you have a ton of great text on your website, whether you have a bunch of pictures or not, but if you have a ton of great text for Google to scan, and figure out what you do and who you should be advertising to, it can be a great start. And if you want to start fast, which I like speed, you can get going. And then Chris, you've got some notes here about, it can be a phishing campaign. It can be a exploratory campaign ad group type. Kind of break that down.
Yeah. So if you, like I said at the top, my favorite way to use it is for testing, finding things that you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you're missing. So maybe it'll find some things that fill in the holes of some creativity, some discovery that you haven't tried before. So if you want to go out and have a phishing campaign where you're trying to find some new ideas and you don't even really know where where you should even start, dynamic search ads are a great place to start. As we've described, very simple and relatively in Google Ads, pretty risk-free compared to a lot of other methods, which is a big statement.
Yeah, you got to have a website that communicates to the world, communicates to Google search robots and all that, what you do. And as long as you do that, it's pretty risk-free. And then you can layer on top of that, you get to see a lot of your search terms and you get to add negative keywords. And with all those things going for you, that's a lot going in your favor.